Hello, everyone, and welcome to the BPHASA and the ARC Michigan PCP webinar series. Today's topic is part 2 of the Charting the Life course. And if you did happen to miss the first half, part 1, that's okay. We do have that recording available on our website. And I did put a link to that to our website in the chat. And you can use the question and answers feature to ask any questions. Also, Tedra and Tracy and Jan Latman have also agreed to use the raise your hand during this presentation as well as an option to ask questions. So we do have just about 1 more minute before we get started today. We're going to give everyone a few minutes just to get logged in and ready. And it is 3 o'clock, so we do want to get started promptly and, respect everyone's time. So I would like to introduce Tedra Jackson, and she is our presenter today, along with Tracy Vincent, and Jan Latman will be joining us as well.
Thank you, Heather.
I'm going to stop sharing my screen and let you take over.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm not sure what happened to the words here, but welcome to part 2 of the Charting the Life course series as part of the ARC Michigan's Improving Person-Centered Planning project. I'm Tedra Jackson. I work for the Michigan Developmental Disabilities Council, and I am being supported today by my colleagues Tracy Vincent and Jan Latman. And as Heather said, we'll be glad to answer any questions that you have throughout the presentation today. You don't need to wait till the end, and if you would prefer to ask it aloud, that is okay too. So today, we are going to talk about the integrated support star and the 3 buckets of support and how using those tools can help individuals and families plan for their lives and really plan for a good life for the person with the disability. And so before we get to the star and the 3 buckets, we are going to just go quickly through the life course principles and framework, just giving background to anyone that is not familiar. So what is Charting the Life course? It's a framework. It includes a set of practices and a set of tools that can help people plan for a good life, recognizing the person in the context of their family, which might be the family that they are born into, but could also be a family of their choosing or whomever that particular person considers to be their family. Charting the Life course has a set of guiding principles and a set of tools that are denoted by the diagram in the corner, and taken together, all of those individually, they make up what we refer to as the Charting the Life course framework. So the core belief is that all people and their families have the right to live, love, work, and play, and pursue their life aspirations in their community. And what's really specific, what's really important about the core belief of the life course is that it says all people. It's not all people with disabilities. So one of the first things that we want to just get across is that the life course is a framework that can be used if you work for a CMH across all the populations that are there. If you work for a high school, it can be used with any high school student, because it is this core belief that really drives the framework and its implementation. So it's important to just recognize that only 1 in 4 people get DD services. So one of the main life course principles is the all. And if we're looking at 100% or 4.7 million people with DD in the country and 100 making up 100%, so that's the all. Only 25% of those people receive state DD services. So we are only helping, a very small part of the population of people with intellectual or developmental disabilities. The other 75% either take care of themselves or they are able to live at home. They don't qualify for services, or there's a myriad of reasons why people choose not to participate in state DD services. One of the guiding principles of the life course is the way that services and supports have evolved over time. So if you look at the first diagram on the left, you look at the person, you look at their family, and you look at their community. And every one of us exists within the context of our family and community. When you are a person with a disability, you're in the center, and then normally those services wrap around your life and it becomes the driving force in your life. And then there's your family, and then there's your community. And that's what we are looking at as traditional disability services. And what we want to move towards, and what we're hoping that what the life course can help do, is to move us towards the picture on the right, which are the integrated services and supports within the context of the person and their family and community. So you're still in your family is still part of the community, and they work together to support the person with a disability as part of the family and also in the community. As I said before, all individuals exist within the context of family. And the family is defined by the individual. It's not dependent on where they live. It's not dependent on, it might not be your family of origin. It could including your extended family, but anyone that loves a person unconditionally could be considered family. And the person in the context of the family, the blue circle with the white outline in the middle, that's the main principle of charting a life course, is that people exist in the context of a family. Within a family, we all have roles. Life course refers to this as caring about and caring for. So thinking about who are the people that share love, affection, and trust with the person, who are the people that spend time and create memories, and who are the people that know about your personal interests, your family traditions, your cultural observances, the stuff that's important to you as a person, really knowing who those people are, and also identifying who is there to care for. So looking at supporting day-to-day needs, ensuring material and financial needs are met, connecting you with meaningful relationships and roles, and really being an advocate and helping to support life decisions. Those reciprocal roles in a family is what really makes us a family. And when you have a person with a disability, they play a part in both of these roles. They know the traditions, and they might also play a part in supporting someone else day to day, even if it's not physically, if it's providing emotional support for a sibling or an elderly family member. So really, really being able to identify the roles of caring about and caring for is an important part of the life course. And you'll see more about what that is later. We're looking at having a good life for all as part of the life course. The individual really achieving self-determination, interdependence, productivity, integration, and inclusion in all facets of community life, not just the parts of life, the community life that the group home provider says that it's okay for them to participate in. And then looking at, when you're talking about families, we want families to be supported in a way that maximizes their capacity, strength, and unique abilities to best nurture, love, and support all individual members to achieve their goals. So not just their family member with a disability, but all the people in the family can be strong and achieve their maximum capacity. Another principle of the life course is the trajectory and life experiences. So looking at the diagram at the top, with the arrow to the top, moving in the right in an upwards motion, is like what do you want for your life? What are your goals? What are you reaching towards? The dotted arrow pointing down is really looking at what you don't want, which is not a question that people are often asked, especially people with disabilities. But all people, regardless of age, ability, and family role, are considered in the vision, values, policies, and practices for supporting individuals and families. All families have choices and should have access to the supports that they need. So charting the life course is a lifespan framework. So if you look at the baby blue circle that has an infant, all the way to the mustard yellow circle that has an elderly couple, an outline of an elderly couple, and one person is using a cane. Throughout your entire lifespan, what you want for your life and your life experiences is what equals the good life that we should be helping people to plan for and strive for. The life course also has a holistic focus across all life domains. And so looking at people leading lives made up of specific, connected, and integrated life domains that are important to a good quality life. Life domains are the different aspects and experiences that we all consider as we grow in age. So looking at your health and safety, looking at having a meaningful day, looking at having people and friends around you. Those are some of the life domains. So there's your daily life and employment. There is community living, social and spirituality, making sure that there's friends and leisure activities, healthy living, safety and security, and citizenship and advocacy. What does it take for a person to really be a member of their community by exercising their citizenship? What roles are they playing? What choices are they making? What responsibilities, do they have? Individualized services and supports. So the 3 buckets of supports is one of the ways this is referred to in the life course, and that's what we're going to be taking a bit of a deeper dive into today. So making sure that individuals and family supports address all facets of life and adjust as roles and needs of all family members change. So we're going to take as I said, another look or a deeper look into the 3 buckets today. But if you're looking at the lifespan as a person ages and roles change in a family, what you want out of those 3 buckets, or what families need out of the 3 buckets, change along with your progression across the lifespan. So the 3 buckets of needs: discovery and navigation, which are skills, information, and tools to navigate life; connecting and networking; self-confidence; strong mental health and connections to family, friends, peers, and others; and goods and services, things you buy, use, or access in your day-to-day life. Part of the life course framework is, recognizing that within these 3 buckets is something that everyone needs, all the time to effectively navigate and live life. We need discovery and navigation, connecting and networking, that's the people around us, and then the things that we buy or use in our day-to-day life, your cell phone, your community, what do you use in your day-to-day life? Anything that we need goes across these 3 buckets, or can be part of these 3 buckets at any point in time. And then there's the integrated support star. So making sure that families have access to an array of integrated supports to achieve their vision for a good life. And so that is not dependent on a place, not dependent on where they live, not dependent on, what Medicaid services you're eligible for, or how much, if you get SSI or SSDI, but how do all of those things work together to help you or help a person live a life that they want. So within the support star, you notice that when you see the star, you see the 5 colors. The light blue rather, is the personal strength and assets. So what is a person good at? What do they admire? What do they like? What assets, what resources are owned or can be accessed by the person? And what are their skills, abilities, knowledge, or experience that can help them to achieve whatever it is that they want? The purple, lavender, is relationships. That's your families, your friends, and your acquaintances. So people that might not be, part of your family or really close to you, but you might come into frequent contact with them because you go to the same coffee shop every day, or you go bowling you're on a bowling league and you go once a week. And so the people that work at the desk at the bowling alley are an acquaintance. So people that will be looking for you if you're not there, oh, Tedra didn't come in for her morning coffee. We haven't seen her in a couple days. And so they have frequent contact, but they might not know you that well. The green is eligibility specific supports. So think of the green bucket, that was goods and services, stuff that you buy. The green on the star is eligibility specific supports. So that is stuff that is need-based and that you are eligible for based on some kind of status. Could be disability, could be food stamps, could be Section 8, could be student loans, whatever it is, if it's something that you are eligible for because of another status, that is what goes in the green. These are the things that people get paid. If you are a CMH, you get services from CMH, and you have CLS staff, they would go in as part of your green. The blue are community resources. Think about the places in the community, the groups that are there. Is it the Lions Club? Is it another civic organization that you're a member of, or the Rotary, or any kind of local government resources? This could be public safety, legal, social programs. That's the blue. That's what's available in your community that can help support you towards living your life. And finally, the pink section is technology, which is, ever more present in our lives every day. So there's personal technology. Think about your cell phone or smartphone. It's common technology used by everyone. Then there's environmental technology that's designed to help a person navigate or adapt in their environment. So that could be ramps or adaptable equipment at a park that helps people go out onto the boardwalk. That could be the automatic doors when you go shopping in Target, so you don't have to have dexterity or be able to pull a door open. So any of those are environmental technologies, and they're available to help all of us adapt well into an environment. And then there is assistive technology, which can be low tech. Think of like the grabber thing, that can help people reach stuff. You're shorter and you need to reach something on the top shelf. That is assistive technology. But then there's also really high tech, specialized assistive technology that can help people stay in their home. There's tech that helps that will turn off your stove, that will turn on the lights, that will alarm a medicine box when it's time for someone to take their meds. And so thinking about how technology can support someone towards achieving a life goal is something that that's really important. And especially for people who are part of the system, and we've had cutbacks all the time, and it sometimes results in people being more isolated and not being able to go into the community as much. Using this star to help think about beyond your eligibility specific supports is what we believe the framework can help do. So today we're going to talk about these two specific principles of the Life's Course framework. I will pause for a second to see if there are any questions. If you would like to ask a question, the Q&A is available, or you could also raise your hand, and I'm going to drink some water. Okay, we shall power on. So supporting the needs of all people, or what's commonly referred to as the 3 buckets. Again, the orange bucket, connecting and networking, that's really talking to someone that's been there. So think about the system, think about the recovery coaches, the peer support specialists, the peer mentors, the family mentors or youth mentors, some of the family leadership family leaders through different programs that are available to you in the state, or to us in the state rather. That really talking to someone that's been in that same situation as you is really important for people, especially as they are transitioning through life. Discovery and navigation, that is really information and training, helping people to discover what's maybe not even new, but just discover, services that are available to them, or a new place that's available in the community, and helping people access trainings that can give them information and help them make informed decisions about something in life is really is really what that blue bucket is all about. And then again, the green is goods and services, looking at your day-to-day expenses, medical and financial supports is really what that boils down to in the green bucket. Anything that has to do with finances is usually in the life course framework, it's green. So when we get into the blue bucket, just taking a little bit of a deeper dive, information, education, and training on best practices within and outside of formal services, accessing and coordinating community supports, and advocacy and leadership skills. So thinking about this blue bucket, and if you're in your role, either as a caregiver or your role as a supports coordinator or case manager, how can you help, how can you get information to individuals and families that can really help them achieve these things? Is it knowledge on a specific disability, or best practice in support, something for instructional skill development, really looking at skill building, but not towards employment, but towards effective ways to address physical, cognitive, or behavioral needs. So this is really what, like, continuing education. This is really looking at what's out there regarding public policy or legislation or advocacy, or helping people be able to exercise their rights, becoming a leader in that space, if that's something that people that we're supporting are, if it's something that's important to them. That is really thinking about how we are building knowledge for ourselves to be able to help, and also helping families and individuals build their knowledge and skills so that they can better navigate systems and achieve their goals. Goods and services. This is stuff specific to daily support and or caregiving roles for people with disabilities or someone that's aging. So really looking at physical support, maintaining or improving physical health or daily living skills. So, is it doing some chair exercises? Is it practicing yoga or meditation to be able to, help someone stay calm and, help lower their blood pressure? Really looking at helping to make people make sure that they have access to adequate financial resources and flexible funds for emergencies. This is where our ABLE accounts in Michigan come in, which you can start an ABLE account and other people can put money in for you. And so are we talking to the people that we're serving about really giving them, not talking to them about it, but providing the information that's out there on the ABLE account and what, how that can help families to achieve some financial goals. And then there is the material stuff that's really instrumental looking at your respite care, looking at transportation. Are they signed up for, if they're eligible, are they taking the paratransit or the door-to-door, I forget what it's called, when they come right to your door and pick you up. Looking at assistive technology. Is there technology available that could help people achieve that dream? That Medicaid, if we're talking about people eligible for Medicaid, what can be purchased by Medicaid that can help someone live their life in the community better? And then helping people think through home modifications that might be necessary to help you complete day-to-day tasks within a home for people that are living individually or maybe with roommates. So this bucket is really the money bucket, looking at how it could be money tangible that you're going to work every day and earning, or it could be money in terms of a budget through CMH for services that you're receiving. But this is really helping people with what they need, the goods and services that they need to live every day. And then the orange bucket, which is connections and partnerships. We know, just in general, a lot of times families that have people that have family members with disabilities are sometimes really isolated, and they spend a lot of time, or they spend all of their time caring for their loved ones. But the orange bucket really helps us to understand the importance of connections and partnerships. Looking at connections and networks of family members who are connected with other family members with similar lived experiences, and mutual partnerships with professionals that lead to empowerment. So think of the peer service category that is available within our system. Again, recovery coaches, peer support specialists, peer mentors, some of the family mentors, the parent mentors that are part of Michigan Alliance for Families. Those, the people that have been there before, that are able to really help someone else make it through. What's out there for emotional support? Think of it in terms of reducing stress or improving positive orientation of feelings. So this is a thing. There's a project a couple years ago, probably about 4 years ago, about parents promoting pride, and it was really designed to help families who hadn't come to terms with their for that particular project, it was children who hadn't come to terms with their child's diagnosis, and they really provided emotional support for parents and caregivers, so that they could then help their child feel better about their disability, and really help them come to terms with that, and not be depressed, and have a much better mental health and outcome surrounding that diagnosis, usually of a new diagnosis of for a disability of their child or their loved one. Looking at affirmational support, really helping people to be affirmed, understood, and appreciated. So if you're working in the system, really thinking through where in your community could people go to get these things. So it's not always that we're going to be the person doing these things for everyone. It's really, how do I help connect the people that I'm working with to some of these things in their community, or in our community, depending on how big your service area is. And then relationships and social capital, really identifying and helping people develop reciprocal relationships so that they can help one another. And that's maybe beyond a social circle. That's maybe with maybe with some other organizations within a community, maybe with medical staff, maybe with other staff within a CMH or another provider, but really helping people to develop and really create a strong relationships within communities to help support the family member with the disability is really important. None of us want to go through life alone. Sometimes having a family member with a disability can be really isolating, and people usually think that the problem that they're experiencing, they're the only one experiencing that problem. But we know that that's typically not true, and really helping people to identify where they can connect is a service that we could all provide. So again, here's our 3 buckets. And then here's the considerations as we're helping people. What are the specific information and training supports provided to families in your areas? Figuring out who provides them, what topics are covered, and then how do families know about them? And if it's a service or a training support that you know about, but we know that it's not widely known, is there a partnership that could be established to really help, or some kind of mechanism that could be established to really help our organization at an organizational level really connect families better to trainings? Is it that maybe the organization is going to start hosting trainings for, reach out and help and offer to host trainings and help with registration and help to get the families that are that are getting services from your specific agency? You could help get people registered if it's a training that people don't really know about, or if there's a newer organization doing something, really having those conversations amongst colleagues, amongst teams, and really pooling that knowledge together to figure out how to get people information and training. And then looking at going down to the next bucket, what opportunities exist for connection and networking, or emotional or affirmational support? Is there infrastructure in your community to support it? And if so, who facilitates it? If not, how can you can your organization help to facilitate it? Or can you help to facilitate it as part of your role if there's a family, or if there's a family that really needs that, and you see that is that there's a deficit there? And really communicating with leadership about the need for these kind of supports, a need for those connections, and really helping to facilitate those connections. Just starting the conversation and really having, within an organization, having conversations and identifying them by bucket to really help make sure that you have that information and can help families make those connections. Because what people really need to make good choices is information. Not necessarily good, but informed. Good is relative. And then thinking about what goods and services are available to families specifically. How are they funded, and how do families access these services? So typically, if it's something with a family, if we're talking about goods and services available to families, the person is usually their loved one is typically a minor, but not always. And so really figuring out what's available to families in your area first, what's available, and then who it's available to. How are they funded? How do people know about them? Identifying what is the greatest strength of your area and your community in supports to family. Who is that go-to organization that if people in any particular situation, this does not have to be disability specific, but just if there are people in families that are in need, where is the place that they go? It could be a church, it could be a local charity, it could be a provider, it could be the local DHS office, but really knowing where in the community families can go to get supports can just really go a long way in helping to really fill those buckets. And when I say fill the buckets, it's with knowledge for yourself or for your agency about what people need and how they can access it in their community. And thinking about what ideas you have for how supports to families could be enhanced. Really thinking through the array of, not when I say service array or support array, not the list that's in the waiver, but really what ideas do you have about how, from an agency perspective, you could be supporting families better? Is there some kind of material that you could develop, reading material that could really help people? Is it a web page that could help people? Is it establishing mentors or establishing navigators or an 800 number that people can call if they really if they really get stuck, not in a crisis like mental health crisis, but like if you are just really having problems, if a family is really having problems with X, normally when something else is in crisis, again, not necessarily related to mental health, you can't really think about the next thing that's needed until that gets solved. And so even if it's not at your agency, is there another agency that you could partner with or send people to really think about, to really help families get what they need to support their loved ones? And that is brings us to the end of the 3 buckets. Do we have any questions? And I'm going to see, just in thinking about these considerations in the 3 buckets, we will try to get you all, people that are on the call today, these questions, just so that you can really be thinking about them, and how you could really be using this information to support families in your communities better. So we'll go now to the integrated support star. And really, the star came about because of a belief that there was more than natural supports and paid supports available for people with developmental disabilities. And that is really how the star came about. So again, looking at your natural supports would be the purple, because natural is usually thinking about your family. And then the green are the other supports that were mentioned, which are paid supports. So that is really thinking, going beyond those 2 things that have been our go-tos historically on how we support people with developmental disabilities. Bringing in the community, bringing in technology, and bringing in what the person has to offer, to their own support in their own life. So we're going to go through some, we call it Charting the Life course in action, that really kind of shows how putting this particular principle, putting it to work, can really help change someone's life. So this is Ben, and Ben lives in Missouri. He doesn't live in Michigan, but he really identified, what the blue part of his star, what people like and admire about him, what's important to him, and how to best support him. And so we start with Ben. The blue part of the star is the part that is the top part of the star. That's the part that's all about the person, their personal strength, their assets. So Ben, prior to the development of the life course, Ben had a waiver and he had a self-directed service arrangement. And then, so that's his green. And you see that he was with that person, his staff, from about 8 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon. Prior to that, his parents helped get him ready. And then on the weekends, when he wasn't living his green life here, he was with his parents because, these supports were only available to him Monday through Friday. Then at 4 o'clock, mom and dad provided all the supports. And then at 10 o'clock, 10 o'clock p.m., mom and dad became his overnight staff. So his relationships at the time were with his parents, and then he had a self-directed waiver, he had a PCA, he had Medicaid, and he had a special needs trust. And so that was Ben's every day. That was his life every day. So after the integrated supports, you put the star to work for Ben, the family started looking at what else is around us. Who else do we have relationships with? Remember the caring for, reciprocal roles, the people that know you, know your traditions, know your loved ones. That's where this comes in. What Ben was eligible for didn't change. He still got those same things. What's in the community that could help Ben, that Ben could participate in, that he could become a part of, that would help him, that was something that he wanted to do. And then looking at technology, what was the technology available to help support Ben being, having a more integrated life. So if you look at Ben's new life on the calendar, his life post integrated supports, in the morning, his parents were still getting him up, helping him get ready for the day. But then 2 days a week, instead of just being with his self-directed PCA, Ben started volunteering at the fire department. And then on Saturday and Sunday, Ben was going to church with mom, and then he could stay home a little bit on his own because they discovered that Ben was able to stay at home alone for up to an hour, and he had an iPad that he could use while he was there. And then after, so he didn't spend as much time Monday through Friday either with his self-directed PCA. He started volunteering at the high school. And there was no paid staff with Ben at the high school. He was just supported by the coaches and friends. And then in the evening, on Mondays, he watched WWE with Matt. On Fridays, he had dinner with family, and mom and dad assisted doing meals some of the days. And then he could stay home alone. That's this light blue. He stayed home alone with his iPad, so his mom could take care of herself and some of her emotional needs and go for walks. And then one day a week, he had horseback therapy with dad. And so really helping, you could see the difference between here when Ben was with his self-directed PCA all day, every day, and then with his spent all the rest of the time with his mom and dad, versus here where he was really had an integrated life with different people in the community. So when we look at another one, in looking at Ben's, excuse me. Excuse me. So looking at Ben's life, ensuring that he had integrated activities, you can see a further breakdown once the STAR was incorporated. Using his iPad, his mom was walking, he would go for a walk, his volunteer work. And so this is throughout life. I mean, throughout, the course of time, his life became even more integrated as they identified more people and more stuff in the community that Ben, he expanded his network and was able to do more stuff, more things in the community. And do you see that here, the green is, lunch with his PCA, watch TV, but the green bits, which are the people that are being paid, someone that's being paid to be with him, becomes less and less. And he's living a much fuller life with more people. There was a STAR for looking at his safety and security and his alternatives to guardianship. So looking at within his family, who are his decision-making supports, who could help him with money management and his personal safety. When we get over to technology, looking at decision-making, smartphone, using telephone and computer, money management. He has a debit card and he uses the online banking app. For his personal safety, his device is enabled with GPS, so his family could locate him if they really needed to. He had a device for personal safety and remote monitoring at home. And so really looking at different areas of the different life domains, you could have a STAR to figure out how to integrate all of those, all of the different life domains. Here's his a safety and security STAR. So he was kind of young at the time that this was done. And so looking at what does he have now, and looking at his safety and security in the future was something that was important. And this was another, this is another one of the life domains. And then there's a lot of ways to implement the STAR in just the stuff that you're doing, day-to-day life, problem solving, making decisions, mapping supports, understanding supports that are wanted and needed, strategic planning. There's so many uses of the life course tools that if you never really use the actual, like the tools, and never went on and printed the tools out on, use the paper, just that concept of what is available in the community to help, what is available in as far as using technology that could help, what are the strengths and assets that we or I bring to the table. There's many uses for the integrated STAR. And really thinking about, it's the concept, not the tool. So not a piece of paper with those 5 different colored points on it. That's not the point of using and teaching the STAR. You know, really thinking about lots of different kinds of sources and supports, not just paid formal supports. So if you're working with a family, you really want to think about, you really want to help them think beyond the green. And sometimes when you first start out, it's really hard for people to really think beyond the green because they don't want to give up anything. But thinking beyond the green could really help someone to have a richer life in the community. And then just knowing that people don't even ever have to see that you're doing the STAR. You know, you might just have a blank sheet of paper with 5, you know, with the 5 headers on them and be talking to people. So not necessarily, it's not the tool. It's not looking at that paper. Just again, when you're using the STAR with people that you're supporting, just remembering that it's really the concept of having that integrated life and the 5 things that can help people to integrate their life is really what's important. So if you're using it with different people, here's Elizabeth, and these are the things that were important to Elizabeth. If it's someone that they're not, they don't really read well or write well, looking at a cognitively accessible version. So we could use the STAR with many different people, many different populations, really looking at if that person isn't able to fill out the tool themselves, or, you know, really to write what they wanted. Like Elizabeth was able to say, oh, this is what I want. But if you're working with someone that isn't, you could use, you know, you ask them, you know, what are you good at? What are your personal strengths? I have a really nice smile. I'm a great communicator. And you could find pictures or other icons that could represent that stuff. Here's a problem-solving STAR for someone. Here is a STAR that is looking at a roommate situation. Here is a STAR that is helping someone think through expanding their employment possibilities. So for whatever it is, you put the goal in the middle and you are able to fill in to answer the questions, personal strengths, relationships. So in a job, it's not necessarily, it could be your family member that knows someone, but maybe your next door neighbor owns a business. Or maybe you want to start your own business, and maybe someone wants to start their own business or a micro enterprise or something, you know, really thinking through here, who are the people that could help support that happening. Again, with your eligibility. So this changes from like Medicaid stuff to like your voc rehab, or going to your career center, or if it's a young person, you know, skills that can be built through an IEP or a transition plan. And so for whatever the goal is that a person might have, you can think through the STAR and help them. This is just another example of the one that of a STAR that isn't word based. Help Jonathan wanted a housemate, and they did a STAR looking for that, you know, trying to help him do that. And then on the Life Course website, there are lots of cheat sheets for different different life domains that can help. Both of these documents are available. You could go on, you could print them out, and they're all ready for housing or healthy living or daily life and employment or safety and security. We have talked about that, and this is just showing you again that we really want to move from the middle diagram to the one on the right, which is people receiving integrated services and supports. Lifecoursetools.com, you can find all of the examples. There are examples there. That's where we got most of them from for today, as well as blank tools. A lot of the tools there are fillable. And so you could even put them on, just have them on your computer or tablet, laptop, and be typing in while working with different people. They have different tools for self-advocates, really formal planning tools. One set that's really good is a family perspective. So you could have a family do one and the person do one. And if there's a lot of people can't come to an agreement, you sit with a person, have their family, they do them separately, and then look at them together and come out with a plan. And those family perspective tools are also on the website, which is lifecoursetools.com. The last thing I will say is that we, the Michigan Supporting Families Community of Practice for Supporting Families, are partnered with the Board Association, the Michigan Community Mental Health Association, or Community Mental Health Association of Michigan, excuse me, and are hosting a person-centered practices learning community. The applications for that learning community are due on November 30th. And we are going to put in the chat for you more information about that learning community and potentially the application, so you can see what it would take to, what you need to be able to apply for that. And I am over time, and so will we be able to access the PowerPoint? Yes, we can have the PowerPoint sent out, or it can be posted potentially on the website underneath the recording. We will work with the folks at the ARC to make sure that can happen for you. And as always, if you have any questions, you really want to contact Tracy Vincent at vincentt1@michigan.gov. She's really the Charting the Life course guru, but I could answer a question or two if it was something like specific to today. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it, and hope that you will be able to implement or start using the life course, the STAR, and thinking through the 3 buckets as you're supporting families in the future.
Thank you, Tetra, so much. And we will stay on for just a few more minutes if anyone does have a question for Tetra or anyone else on our panelists today. And just a reminder that we do not have a webinar scheduled for the month of December, but please look out in your emails. We will be sending information about our webinar series for the 2023 year, which is fastly approaching very fast. So yeah, and we will send out a follow-up email that will have a link to the recording and also a PDF of the presentation today. So you will have access to those slides in a PDF format. And they will also be available on our website within a few days. It does take us a little bit of time to get things there, so don't look today, but in the next day or two. But if you missed part 1 of the presentation, that is already posted to our website, along with all of our past webinars for this year. So if anyone has any questions, please feel free to either raise your hand or put it in the Q&A. But we would like to thank Tedra, Tracy, and Jan for joining us today. And I don't see any questions. Are you guys okay with ending the webinar? And you guys do have the contact information, so if you are thinking of a question, feel free to email those to Tracy or to Tedra.
Thank you,
All right.
Heather.
Yes, thank you all so much. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.